Nash right there. That's a lot of, okay, that's looking good right there. Hopefully, then I'll go. All right, we're checking 13. Now, this has been scheduled on Facebook Live. YouTube and Facebook Live for a day. So I'm seeing if that matters, that people know. Now, Randy came on. I'm glad that he came on to see about this. And we are ready. I have to now monitor the YouTube. Matt's saying, what are you sipping on, Nash? That's what Liza wants to know. You can go through. Feels like a tattoo.
Sipping on some Yellowstone, a store pick single barrel called It's Another Brown Sugar from Southern Spirits, just across the state line from North Carolina. And also, that's currently what I have in my little mini Glencairn. And also, they did a store pick from Maker's Mark called Toasted Caramel Custard. And again, that was from Southern Spirits.
All right, I'm hoping.
And it's a little town called Indian Land, South Carolina, just across the border.
Off. All right, that's looking good for YouTube. All right, so there we go. We're looking good for YouTube. We look like we're friends, Nash. I'll put my arm around you.
All right. I got my arm around you. Well,
there you go. Well, this one actually on YouTube is the arm around you. So let me make sure the sound's on. You give me a call.
Right. I got my arm around you.
Yep, it's all working. Sound's working. Now I'm going to monitor. Excellent. I'll monitor the YouTube. If anybody comes on right now, we do have our first person on YouTube. Welcome, everybody. Tonight is single barrels. We are going to explain single barrels. The single barrel, in my opinion, the single barrel, what would you say?
Actually, Tiny's going to explain single barrels, and I'm just going to drink single barrels tonight. Because I don't have any info or anything. I came in late to this podcast, unprepared.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
On the road.
All right, so we got everything working. We're live. Yep, that should be pretty good. I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm checking out the. Yep, got that going. Yeah, you can see you. I can monitor the. I'm monitoring the Facebook. Got the Facebook. Chat. I got YouTube chat, so now we can get going. Tonight, let me put this off to the side because that's not. I always forget
hitting a button on that.
Well, yeah, and it's just like I want a certain amount of cleanliness here. I've got some water. That's and try to make it look professional. Correct? Don't you want that?
Absolutely. I've been wishing for that for 5 seasons.
So I got a lot of examples of it. I've got a lot of examples. You've been wanting that for 5 seasons. Maybe you'll get it in the 6th. Who knows, right? Right?
Yeah.
All right.
There's always hope for you, right?
Yep.
And me.
So let me go over the quick things, pay the bills. The Spirit of French Lick is one of our sponsors. When we start the actual podcast, there is a roll and it plays all the ads, but I like to mention it for all the people on Facebook and YouTube. The Spirit of French Lick in French Lick, Indiana is making fantastic spirits. Former master distiller Alan Bishop, his spirits are all available through the gift shop and throughout Indiana and Kentucky. You got to check him out. What he has done down there, is amazing. And then Justin Wiley is now the master, or not the head distiller, and he is keeping the spirit going at the Spirits of French Lick. So you want to check them out. If you're in their gift shop, they have their Matty Gladden, they've got their Lee Sinclair, and they've got their William Dalton. William Dalton's one of my favorite bourbons. It's one bourbon of the year. And But we're excited for our barrel pick coming up, which should be in about 2 weeks. Hopefully, this week it should be labeled, and about 2 weeks later we can go down and pick it up. It looks like I'm going to be trying to pick it up Saturday the 17th. We'll see. I've tried to do it on the 20th of July. Wasn't able to do that, so we'll get into what a barrel pick for a group means and how it works. I mean, we'll get into that as we keep going, and then. Also, Alan Bishop, if you have ghosts, you have everything. It's a great podcast about spirits and spirits. He covers all the spiritual world and then all the spirit world of distilling. He combines the two, plus he throws in aliens, conspiracy theories, and everything. It's a great podcast. Me and Roxy have been on it before. And then also, he has the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute on the YouTube channel. You got to check that out, what Alan does there on there. If you're into home distilling or distilling and you have a question, he will answer it and give you the most scientific, detailed, and also the most experienced answers that are around when it comes to the chemistry of making bourbon. The only person I've really known that's gotten as a distiller that has into the chemistry as much as Alan, and and they all know it, but I think Ross Cornelison is into that pretty heavy too, because he was that's his degree. You know what I mean? So, and I think also. I want to say Brent Elliott had a degree, and he was working in a different industry through science and chemistry. So those are the few distillers there, and then also
you also got to mention Greg Snyder too, because he is really into it too.
Yeah, Greg definitely. He's been on so many times, and Greg gets the most that he understands all the distilling things, but where he really excels is the chemistry of the whiskey interacting with the barrel. And we'll talk about that on a single barrel soon, because there's going to be a pick for the Kentucky Bourbon Festival that I was associated with for a single barrel for Chicken Cock whiskey, and you all are going to want to. You're going to want to get in on this one. It was the choices were spectacular.
I'm pretty sure they're not going to want to get any of that.
It's like FA says hi on there. And then we're looking at Walker. Let's see. Nash can't wait for you to try one of those amazing barrels. All right. Yep. So also Rosewood Bourbon and Jason Giles doing a great thing down in Texas. He basically takes Kentucky and Indiana purchased barrels, ships them to Texas, lets them age for at least a season down there, and then he puts out Rosewood Bourbon and rye. You got to check that out. Also, he is also distilling at the Bardstown Bourbon Company going forward and aging it up there in Kentucky, but then he'll bring it down for a season. So Rosewood Bourbon, the reason why Jason is one of our sponsors and is because he knows how to blend what he's doing. I was very impressed with. It tastes fantastic.
Too in that Texas heat, because you just can't put barrels out there in that Texas heat. I mean, it'll evaporate. And just.
You got to start off.
He definitely knows what he's doing when he takes the barrels down there and ages them.
Yep, and Kentucky, the last couple weekends and weeks, honestly, the whiskey has been evaporating. It's been hitting 100. Same thing in South Carolina, and high 80s here in Ohio. It's been a great summer for whiskey aging. Up here, it's not as dry as it is down in Texas. Texas has a little bit more drier heat than the South. And up here, we're a lot more humid, and we have a lot more rain up here. And we've been getting it. It's been hot, but it hasn't been, like drought conditions. It's been enough to keep everything going. All right, so let's get this going. There's going to be a 30-second ad, and then you'll hear the Scotchy Bourbon Boys theme song, everybody, and we'll get going. All right, single barrels tonight. I'm going to start recording. Here we go. Now that was a screw up. Let's see. There we go. I don't even.
Drinking bourbon, sipping on some scotch. We give it a while to show fun and watch. We love what we do, we're drinking. Man, it's all sunshine, but we're telling the truth now. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, raising some hell, making some noise. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We're here to have fun and we hope you enjoy. We're here to have fun. Yeah.
Welcome back to another podcast of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We are back in studio. We got Super Nash from North Carolina, not South Carolina tonight. Welcome, Super Nash.
Cheers, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad I could jump on and jump in and have a little pour of single barrel night.
Yep, it's single barrel night. Yeah, we are going to talk everything single barrel.
We got Tiny in the studio. Can't forget about that.
Yep, I'm Tiny. Excited to be back. Pretty much this Thursday, I go for my final check for my broken wrist. I don't have to wear it unless I'm at work. I kind of wear it still, the brace for it, but it's healed up I'd say about 95%. I still sometimes don't really feel that I got the strength yet in it, but I believe the way it healed, it should be coming back. And then I'm
wondering why you've been waving at me for the past 15 minutes.
I've been showing everybody that it's like there's no brace or nothing. No brace or nothing.
Like, is he trying to show me that white tan or that white Ohio tan or what?
I'm pretty dark here, buddy. I'm pretty dark.
I get
if you want to get into a hillbilly tan, I got that. You can get into that. But but
we'll
also
say that for another podcast.
Also, I'm fresh off of the reason why weren't on last Thursday is because I had my wisdom teeth removed last Thursday. Finally got to the point where I felt that now that I'm getting into a full 6 days removed from the procedure. Everything went fantastic. I have to give my dentist straight up kudos. What he did, the medication. I just had numbing. The first day there was a little bit of pain, but after that, how everything was managed and everything, he was very, very helpful. And I'm going to keep on the soft diet kind of thing. One thing really good about this is that I went from usually I want to be about 260 to 255 when I go to Kentucky Bourbon Festival. And this year I was thinking I was at 283 about a month ago. And I was thinking that's going to be rough to get down there. But I went on vacation too. So a lot of times you go on vacation, right? And you gain some weight, drink a little bit more than you drink and whatever. But we took the grandkids and everything. I didn't whatever. And then I had this procedure. I hopped on the scale. And all of a sudden I hopped on the scale. I was 271. And I was like, what? Right after, like, I think I had it on Thursday. I hopped on the scale on like Saturday morning. And I was like, what's going on? And now I hopped on the scale after came home from work and whatever, and I was 267. So I'm well on my way. If I just and I still have a good 5 or 6 more days of the soft food kind of thing. You know what I mean? And then I've been just eating slower, and eating smaller portions because of it. You just...
Wow, you lost it and I found it on my vacation.
It's what happens.
He says, holy crap, he said, what'd you eat in Hawaii? I said, well, just about everything I could.
There's Bill Johnson is on. Walker's on tonight. There's Randy is on. James Jacobs, Matt Lysen. A lot of people
Cheers,
on.
everybody.
Cheers, everybody. We are going to be talking single barrels, but first I'll give some shameless plugs for the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. www.scotchybourbonboys.com for all things Scotchy Bourbon Boys. T-shirts, Glencairns. Check it out there. Check us out. Find out who's on the podcast. We're a podcast group having a blast. Randy Wackerly is going to be helping us get on Roku TV. Like, if you really want to get down to it, the plan is starting to play out. I got a couple more years, but it would be great to be, do some things, get on TV, get on Roku, get on, overall, maybe get on cable. As this keeps going, I'm super excited. We're going to change how we go about doing things. But also remember, right now, you could follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or X. So those 4 places. And we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So you probably already are if you're listening to that. And then also make sure that you follow us while you're in your car on your favorite podcast formats, Apple, iHeart, Spotify, Pandora. You want to listen to us on playing video games? We're on all the podcast formats that you listen to. Just check out the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. So there we go.
And leave good feedback if you can.
Yeah, please. I was asking Jamie and Walker, I don't know if you've done that yet, but just go to Apple Podcasts and actually leave us some good feedback. I'd like to get our rating up there. 4.1's not bad, but we've had a couple things and whatever happened between other rival groups or whatever, so there was a little bit of negative feedback back then, but we've fixed all that. So we'd like to get that podcast rating up. So everybody listening on YouTube or Facebook, if you can go to Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio, give us a good feedback and leave a nice message about what you think about the podcast, because we greatly would appreciate it. Please.
Absolutely.
All right. So tonight, we're getting into we're going to get into single barrels. We've done this podcast. I think I did this once with whiskey. Whiskey did it, and we were doing it back when we were talking about when we had gotten some bad. This was a couple years ago. But this year, I felt that was more of it was more of an explanation of what you wanted to do with group picks, group single barrel picks. But the definition, as you'll agree with me, Nash, is a single barrel. Now there's a couple things.
Single barrel whiskey bottles.
Right. Now,
completely on its own.
Yep. Right now, there's 2 things they can do to it. They can bottle it barrel proof, or they can proof it down. So, like for instance, when you go and you do a Knob Creek pick, like we did, and I've done a couple times, the proof of all Knob Creek barrel picks is 120. Now, on our pick, specifically at Knob Creek with Sandy No, and when we went and did it, we actually picked a barrel that was 120.2, so it wasn't watered down. You could get it. It was within the specs, and they just put it in the bottle. So that was kind of unique. But if you pick a 139 or a 130 of Knob Creek while you're doing it, and they're gonna add water to take it down to 120, and you get more bottles that way. Now, a lot of picks, for instance, can be barrel proof, and that's another thing. So when you're looking at single barrels, you want to look to see if all the single barrels contain a consistent proof, or do they differ? And if they differ, that means that each single barrel is being barrel at the barrel strength, because they just take what's in there, dump it in the bottles, and sell it to you. Now, you say, okay, well, how's that different from other whiskey? Right? That would be the question. Let's see. What is this? What? Okay. What's this? Sending stars. Okay. That's okay. So we got to get into I'll check every once in a while. I'm checking to see who's on and who's watching and whatever. But let's get into what a single barrel. How does a single barrel differ from regular bourbon, small batch bourbon, and then your single barrel and all your small batches? Okay, and then also from barrel strength bourbons. Okay, so the main thing about when you're buying bourbon, for instance, Jim Beam, and I believe this one right here is a small batch Eliza Craig. This small batch Eliza Craig has the label that you purchased for me, Super Nash. This is a small batch that I've never answered. It says specifically for Tiny of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. You did that for me. I appreciate it. I covet this bottle. But what's in this bottle is a 94 proof small batch Eliza Craig that you can buy, same as what you buy off the shelf. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. So small batches can be anywhere from a few barrels to 600 barrels. The definition of a small batch is compared to the main production of the whiskey that a distillery is making. So let's just say Jim Beam uses 20,000 barrels. I don't know how many they use for a batch. Yeah,
we're just figuratively putting out some numbers here.
So anything underneath 20,000 barrels is a smaller batch, and you can call it small batch. There's no rules for small batch. Now, if you are at a craft distillery, a small batch can be anywhere between, I believe actually when it comes to chicken cock whiskey, they just did a small batch that was 3 barrels. Or was it? It was 6 barrels. So 6 barrels or 11 barrels. But what that is they take those barrels and they mix them together so that they either taste the best that they can taste, or they can want to get a consistency of a brand. So when you buy Elijah Craig small batch, what they're trying to do with this is when you buy it, it's the same consistent flavor profile. Now, I found that these small batches, even though they're trying to maintain consistency, they've been actually better as you go forward. Now, I would say like Jim Beam, when you taste a Jim Beam from 1974, 65, and 1980, and then you taste the Jim Beam today, they basically evolved to the whiskey drinker's palates, in my opinion. But there is a flavor that's consistent throughout that that they've been trying to do ever since. They try and keep that consistent flavor. Same yeast, same barrel company, same, everything's the same amount of batches. They analyze them in a computer.
They even age them in the same places, same parts of the warehouse, to get that same consistency.
Yeah, and don't finger. Okay, so anyways, so what happens is, there's a lot of people watching on YouTube right now, so it's going crazy, but it's always sometimes people being, rude. But so you're getting that's what the goal is of a small batch, and it can be anywhere. Like I said, there's no rules. I like a lot of small batches. I like the chicken cock, the chicken cock small batch that they came out with, and it's right here. It's fantastic, and it was less barrels. You basically are picking like 3 or 4 star barrels or 6 barrels or whatever, and you're blending them together to get a flavor that's even better than each individual barrel. You're looking, that is usually the blender's preference, and blending we'll talk about a lot about that, how much it matters. But when you're talking about a single barrel, and that's what we're talking about tonight, single barrels are, once again, we talked about it, 1 barrel. It's a one-off. They take the barrel, they either proof it down for consistency amongst the single barrels. And for instance, I do have right here, we'll put that out. But I have Jim Beam single barrel. Jim Beam single barrel is 108. Jim Beam single barrel is the same mash. What you got? Yeah, the same mash bill as Baker's and Booker's. They all have the same mash bill. So Jim Beam single barrel is 108, and if I'm not mistaken, Baker's is 107. And
I have Yellowstone, and it's at 109.
Right.
Most all the single barrels that I've seen, they barrel them at 109.
Right.
I mean, bottle them at 109.
Right. So this, when you get it, it's going to be bottled at 108. You know the proof. So they basically take those barrels and make sure, and they proof it down to 108. Now, a lot of times the distiller will say that he'll take them down consistently. He knows the mash bill. He knows, and it's just one barrel, but he likes what the barrels taste like at 108. So in this case, with Jim Beam single barrel, you're going to be at 108 consistently, meaning that no matter what's in the barrel, it could be a 112, a 120, a 130, they're going to add water, and this single barrel will produce either more or less bottles. But you're going to have a consistent proof to it. So that's one thing that you're going to be looking for when you're looking for your single barrels, you know. Now, a lot of times, this is consistent for the distillery itself when you go to your liquor store and the distillery puts out their single barrel on the shelf. So the distilleries put they pick single barrels and keep putting them out on the shelf. I know for a fact that if you want to know a lot, it's the single barrels that you see a lot are Evan Williams single barrel. You see Jim Beam single barrel from time to time. You don't see it consistently. And then what are a couple other single barrels that you see on the
Daniels does their single barrel.
Jack Daniels does a single barrel. Now, I don't know if Jack Daniels single barrels keep the proof consistent. They might be different. But this is what you got to look at when you're buying from the liquor store on the shelf in your general bourbon population. You're looking for the proof, and if it's consistency, you know that they've added some water. That's not neither good nor bad. It's not. Well, it's just part of it.
E.H. Taylor single barrels, they're all the same.
Yeah, because
E.H. Taylor single barrels are all the same proof.
Well, I believe they're all bottled in bond. 100 proof.
100, yep, you're right.
So every single barrel is taken down because that's how it's bottled. It's got to be bottled in bond. But instead of making a batch, they're basically pouring it out the barrel, proofing it down to 100, and sticking it in, sticking right in the bottle. So that's what there you're looking at. Now, when you're dealing with single barrels, in my opinion, and the other one that one of the biggest single barrel bourbons there is, and it was the first one, is oh my god, I gotta Blanton's. Yeah, Blanton's. Thank you. I'm thinking also Booker's is running through. Blanton's is the ultimate single barrel. All their single barrels for Blanton's on their regular single barrel are 93 proof. You're right. Now they have straight from the barrel. And that's a single, Blanton's straight from the barrel. That's just, they're not proofing it down. You can get that. But overall, it's 93 proof. It's consistent. That program is one of the reasons why, and let me grab real quick a Blanton's. I got one right up here.
Knew what you were thinking right off the bat. There you go.
Mm-hmm. And Blanton's has Blanton's Gold. They have Blanton's straight from the barrel. They have Blanton's and the 93 Reserve. But everybody's looking for is always the regular Blanton's. I mean, everybody's happy when they get regular Blanton's. You get something else, you're really ecstatic. But they have, now this one is a straight from the barrel, which is I was awesome enough to get. But
yes, you were.
But you see the topper. And there's a reason for the topper, everybody. Because when you buy Blantons, and this is another thing about single barrels, single barrels aren't guaranteed to match your palate. They're not guaranteed to match the flavor. So let's just say you love E.H. Taylor.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy crap, this is great. And E.H. Taylor's consistent all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a chance to spend a little bit more money and get an E.H. Taylor single barrel. Now you're talking hit or miss. Because let's just say you like E.H. Taylor because it's not too sweet. Because E.H. Taylor, in my opinion, is what bourbon should taste like. It's not too sweet. It's got enough of the oak flavor. It's got enough of the, that barrel caramelizing. It's got enough of the bourbon. It's got enough of the yeast. It's all in there. It's what you want. And then you get a single barrel, and that
a well-balanced single barrel. Yeah.
Now you can get one on this, and it can be a dud. And let's just say you've been waiting to get a Colonel Taylor single barrel. You've been passed over 20 times, and you finally get one. You open it up, and it tastes like someone shoved oak, and you're gonna poop it. My first Taylor single barrel, it was sat on the shelf for 2.5 years. I forced myself to drink it, but I preferred Taylor 50 times over. Actually, I got a Benchmark single barrel, which is the same mash bill, but younger. And the Benchmark single barrel blew away that Taylor single barrel. So single barrels are inconsistent. It's kind of like potluck. You don't know what you're going to get.
There you go.
Especially with Blantons. And that's where the toppers came in.
Yep.
If you got a Blanton's and you're trying to get a Blanton's, there's 8 different toppers, and all different stages of the Kentucky Bourbon or the Kentucky Derby. Each one is a different, and it spells out Blanton's. You get a B, an L, an A, and then the second, Anyways, the second N, is it? We lost. Did we lose you, Nash?
No, I'm here.
Okay, what just happened?
I
don't know why we switched around on the. You all of a sudden. Oh, there we go. What was that?
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways, so the
ghost in the studio.
Yeah, messing us up there. So they were like, well, what happens if they buy one and they get a dud? Because they're picking those barrels from a specific place in the warehouse, but we know.
Well, they're still going to keep it because they're going for that horse in that letter.
Yep, and so they'll
to fill that get that stave plaque.
Yep, they actually
prize at the end of the barrel, right?
I mean, it's hard for people on YouTube to see, but it's not hard for people back here. Is the stave from Buffalo Trace? If you get all 8. You send them in,
the toppers in,
and they will send you it back on a stave mounted, and even pay for the shipping. You pay for the shipping there; they pay for the shipping. It's a fantastic program, but it's thank you for buying 8 $65 barrels of whiskey or bottles. But initially, you weren't able to look at. They wouldn't even let you look before you opened the box. You had to some people would buy 30 bottles and.
Let me interject right there. When I started drinking Blanton's and collecting the stoppers, it was $39 a bottle.
Well, there you go. So, anyways,
and now it's like $65 a bottle.
And then secondary is crazy.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we don't even need to go or admonish secondary prices because they suck. Right.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let's see. I just screwed that up. Nope. Okay. I just want to let's hide that one. All right. Bill Johnson's on.
I just saw somebody. They were asking $300 for that bottle you have right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Straight from the barrel.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Yep. So
on a secondary market.
Now the one I got
just today.
so once again, it's a single barrel, and they knew that. So when you're playing the single barrel game, like I said, I've gotten regular bottles of Blantons that I've rated a 93, and I've gotten a regular bottle of Blantons that I rated a 65, and they tasted like two completely different bourbons. It's a hit or miss thing when you're buying it off the shelf, just like when I got this straight from the barrel. I didn't know it was going to be fantastic. I knew and had tasted it, but it was fantastic. But it could have been, I could have spent this money, and it's a single barrel. There's nothing you can do about that. Now, so that's single barrels off the shelf. What you got to look for? You got to look for if they're proofing it down. You got to look to see if they're putting them out inconsistently. You know what I mean? For instance, the next one that I want to talk about is maker.
Another thing too. Let me put this out there. It's like today. If you're going out there and you're looking for single barrels, or like in my case, like today, store picks, and I knew this store, and I've been to it several times before, and so I know the guys that work there. And a lot of the guys in the stores, they go to Kentucky, they go to Mexico, they do tequila picks, they go to Kentucky, they go to Texas, they go to Indiana, they go all over, they go to Colorado, and they do barrel picks from everywhere, okay? Bourbon and tequila and several different things. And so they're the ones that are actually tasting this and picking these barrels and all.
Right.
And so when I went in there, and this store they probably had maybe 15 different bourbon single barrel picks and all. And these are the two that I chose today to come back to bring to the podcast and taste. And so I talked with the guys in there. So go to your liquor stores and talk with the people, talk with them about it.
Well,
and they'll tell you,
now
if they're the ones picking it, or how they picked it, or if they just got sent a kit.
You jumped.
Some stores just get sent a kit.
Jumping the gun.
In the mail.
You're we didn't explain this. Okay, so we're going to the next level.
All right.
We're going to the next level. So now we're talking about private picks. So single barrels are available to the public in private picks. Super Nash was just talking about stores, liquor stores, where you're picking up the distillery picks. Now, the distilleries can do private picks that they only release from. They don't send it out barrel after barrel like Evan Williams or whatever. They'll do a couple picks and just have them at their gift shops. They're known for that. Watershed up here in Ohio has a lot of single barrel picks from their gift shop. They don't sell the single barrels off the shelf. The Spirit of French Lick, you walk into the gift shop anytime. They will have many different picks, sometimes picks from other groups that, the group will not buy the whole barrel, but it'll be there for sale. So there's a lot of different things. And one of the things that Nash was talking about, and he can keep going on this, is that
I jumped the horse.
Now, this is where pick teams or pick people come in. Now, he was just talking about at this particular liquor store, they go to the places, and then the Scotchy Bourbon Boys as a group, we go to the distillery and pick it. But there are some places based off of COVID, and when COVID hit, they couldn't go and pick out the barrels and have the big experience. They had to get samples. They pick from the samples. The distillery would bottle it, and you'd go from there. Now, who knows what you're getting then? I mean, we know that in the world that I'm not saying any distillery does it, but you're picking from the sample. You don't know that your sample went into that barrel, because all the time now when you go and do a distillery pick, you get to sign the barrel. You get to keep the barrel in some cases. Some places don't let you, but you sign it and you do it, and they know what it is and they barrel it. So, it's kind of a cool thing. I know that our first Spirit of French Lick pick went to Super Nash. Second pick from Elijah Craig is in CT's house. This third pick of Lillian Sinclair that I'm going to be getting soon, I'm going to be bringing back here. I have one of my
favorite. And give the Super Nash for Christmas.
You guys can't have all the barrels. No, I'm just kidding. So
I hadn't got, I hadn't got room for it.
Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to. I'd have room for one more somewhere. I'm gonna figure it out. I'll figure out where that last barrel goes, and then I'm done too. So the cool thing about single barrels when it comes to the pick teams, and we're gonna go over. So you got pick teams going out from restaurants. We have a place called the Winking Lizard here. They do barrel picks left and right in the state of Ohio. They're fantastic picks. You go to the restaurant. Now, at the restaurant, you're not buying the bottles. You're basically tasting those picks at all their different restaurants, and you could get buy it pour for pour. Awesome, and they do a lot of stuff. When you walk in, they've got a good selection.
Gosh. Cheap pours too.
Yeah,
I mean,
reasonably priced.
They don't do no markup on it, do they?
Nope. And then in the state of Ohio, we have a really unique thing called state picks. OHLQ sends teams of people, and I've been associated with the Old Elk, and now we've been associated with the Starlight pick that should be coming out. I know the state of Ohio just did a chicken cock pick with Greg Schneider. I wish I would have been a part of that one, but I was not. But they also do Maker's Mark.
He's been a part of a few OHLQ picks, hasn't he?
Yes, they just did one with him. They went down and did OHLQ came down and did one with him. I found out about it. So the state of Ohio has been really taking the forefront. I don't know very many other states that are actually doing state picks and then distributing them to all the liquor stores. They'll buy anywhere between 7 and 20 barrels from the place and then distribute it throughout the state. Tell everybody about the different tasting notes, and people go crazy for these. They're awesome. This one right here, Maker's Mark, is their favorite one. This is Coffee Crumble Cake from OH.
The whole team at OHLQ for the last 2 to 3 years now has really turned that state program around, and I want to say it's probably the #1 in the whole United States. If not, it's got to be way up there. But they do more for the people, the bourbon and whiskey and Scotch lovers than I've ever seen before in any other state. And I just got to give a shout out to the whole team there.
Okay.
Our friend, I might as well go ahead and mention her name, Ann Demick, our friend there. She's, one of the main ones there, but she's got a whole team of people that does all the picks.
So also, I want to wish a happy birthday to Stacy Pritchard today. She is 44 today. So she's put that out there. Stacy, I'm glad that you're spending a little bit of your birthday watching us. We'll talk a little bit about. We're going to talk.
Cheers to many more.
So
hope you're having a wonderful celebration.
So I'm going to have a little bit of this coffee crumble cake as my first pour sample since my teeth have been extracted. I don't know what it's going to do, but the one thing I want to say is Maker's Mark Private Select are one of the private selects that you can get at the gift shop. You could find them throughout the gift shop, but then also you can find, now you just found one through liquor stores actually making selections. They don't put out their own, single barrel. Their version of this is a mass-produced Maker's 46, if I'm not mistaken. That's what they do. They do a batch of it. They just put these staves in there, and they consistently do it. But there's so many flavors. They were when they were coming up with Maker's 46, there was thousands of flavors, and they're like, well, we got to make sure we got to do something with this, and that's where their private select single barrel program. This is one barrel. This is. The state of Ohio selected it, and it tasted like crumbled coffee cake. So I'm going to put a little bit in there. I'm scared.
I want to know when that came out and how come I didn't get a bottle of it. I might have a bottle of it, and I just hadn't opened it up yet.
Yeah, it's like
it's probably in the closet.
These are so good. This is OHL exclusive 2022. So stay profile.
I bet I
111.3 proof, March of 2022. So we're right in the middle of right when that was happening. So I'll put that one back. But that's how the state picks. Then there are festival picks, which are fantastic. If you go to a festival, we were at New Orleans Bourbon Festival. I picked up the chicken cock pick and the dark arts pick. I think you got a couple too. Did you not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wilderness Trail picked up their pick. Single barrel pick. Oh my gosh, there were so many, and now I just the Elijah Craig single barrel. Got that pick from the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. God, there's so many more.
No, you're going off. I said New Orleans. Now you're going off of Kentucky.
New Orleans. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's like stay on, motherfucker. Stay on task.
I'm all over the place here.
Oh.
Yeah, I picked up a couple down there too. I got the dark arts, of course.
Oh my God! Stacy said it wasn't her birthday. They picked their 44th barrel today.
Oh my God! See, I didn't even look at Facebook today. I didn't have a chance to. So that's all on you.
That shows you. I swear to God, I basically was Stacy's birthday just recently.
Yes, it was like 2 months ago.
Oh, 2 months ago. Someone's birthday was today because I typed in happy birthday. So
Kate Price's was today.
Oh, it was, yes, Double O Kate. Happy birthday to Double O Kate. There you go. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Sorry, Stacy. She's in the group. And I have what would you say? An excuse. I'm all meted up.
Less than a half ounce of whiskey on top of that.
I said that before I even had it. Stacy said it.
For you.
So you were wrong. It's June, and we're only in July, so it was last month. Okay. So anyways.
Okay.
But I will have to say that after all this, I haven't been the sharpest. I'm just glad I'm still alive on the planet. So there you go. All right, so let's get back. So the festival picks and the Kentucky Bourbon Festival that, Stacy mentioned, they did 44 for this year as of now, and one more to go, and who knows? But, that's amazing. Now, in the past, they were
4 already.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's so nice to taste that. I haven't tasted that in a while. That one is definitely crumble cake. Yeah.
Tell you what,
111 proof.
Brown sugar, another brown sugar is very good.
So once you get into these other picks, the store picks, that's a pick team. Sometimes the store is just picking it from samples. Sometimes they go. I prefer people to go to the places and pick. The Kentucky Bourbon Festival goes to all the distilleries. New Orleans Bourbon Festival, they go and make those picks. So they're at the distilleries, touring around, making the picks, picking the barrels for the distillery. And in those cases, especially the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, in my opinion, the pick team that happens, they put out a lot of pick teams. Stacy is part of those pick teams. These are expert barrel pickers trying to pick really, really good special barrels. We've been on a couple of those picks ourselves, have been part of those pick teams. We were on the chicken cock pick. It was amazing. That was the best pick I've ever had, where all 4 barrels and now in this case, we picked from samples that were brought to their tasting room, and we picked from 4 of the samples, but all 4 of the samples were spectacular. It would have been great to pick Chickacock is distilled and aged at the Bardstown Bourbon Company. It would have been great to pick there, but we weren't able to do that. So we were able, that was the next best thing, but we were down there in Kentucky, made the pick, but all 4 barrels were, I've never been on a pick where I loved all 4 barrels. A lot of times the barrel will be this or that, you know what I mean? So that was a great pick for Kentucky Bourbon Festival. We went to, I want to say Bluegrass Distillery in Kentucky. I think she knows. Stacy might be able to tell us where the Bluegrass Distillery is, but that is more up towards a little bit more towards Frankfurt. So we
Sparta?
did what? Yeah,
That Sparta.
Yeah, I believe so. And then
Sparta,
yep. And then we did a pick with them for that. I know Nash was on the log still pick. So they did all these great picks for the distilleries that are going to be there. I will say,
I want you to know that
okay,
knowing that they
Midway, Kentucky.
Midway. Okay. Knowing that they did 44 already and going to have 45, I have definitely been working hard this year, and I have upped my budget.
I mean, they made it freaking impossible. I mean, how the hell do you pick between?
Yeah, they made
everybody
it impossible, but I have upped my budget from last year to this year's, knowing that they were going to be doing something like this.
Okay,
because we had a little bit of inside information that they were going to make it bigger and better. And we've been talking about it all year long.
Yep, and we got to do We got to do an August podcast leading up to the.
Really stepped it up bigger than what I thought they were going to do. So, I mean, they went from like 35 and added like 10 more, or 32 and added 10 more. No, it was 35 and added 10 more.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, from the year before, we're talking about. I think there were yeah, I mean, whatever it was a low. I think even 45 blows Stacy's mind. Good job, Stacy. So you've got the festival pick team. So at the festivals, I really think you're going to get some of the best single barrels out there because one, it's especially the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. Just think about the distillery. This is the premier bourbon festival in the United States, or in the world, because there's no bourbon festivals so you're talking about the premier bourbon festival in the world. And what is a distillery going to want to do? Are they going to want to give you sample barrels from stuff that they don't think is their best? They're going to want their best out there so that festival goers taste it and want to drink their product. Yeah. So these picks and these pick teams are picking from some of the best bourbon there is in the world, and they're the ones. So what happens on a single barrel and you're on a pick team, you become the blender. The guy, you're picking 4 or 5 barrels, and you're picking the best of those barrels. Now, when the state of Ohio picks, and they're buying 20 barrels, they're just trying to pick barrels for the state because there's so many different palates that it's just good whiskey. But when you're talking about these festival picks, they're trying to get the best barrel possible for each time of these picks out of these picks, because this is important for the festival, because 45 people pay their money, come down. They're going to come back next year wanting more because they're going to be like, that bottle was fantastic.
That's what I was going to get at. There's a limited amount of people, and every one of those people, when they get these bottles, they're going back and they're telling 10 of their friends, and oh my God, it's just going to build this thing up bigger and better. And it's just going to be unreal. But like I say, you got to give it to those picking team right there, because they're not just going out there just to taste it. Oh my gosh, pick one barrel and let's get it over with. They're going in there, they're really working at it and going through these barrels, and they're really tasting them, and they're picking some of the best barrels they can possibly pick to bring to this festival. And they know that.
Right. So then there's let's see, which one's this? Then on single barrel, so you've got the liquor stores, the states doing it, and then you're doing the festivals, and then you're doing groups, and groups are very important. The Scotchy Bourbon Boys, we do, and let's see, I've got our barrel proof. No, is it barrel proof uncut? I'm looking for the
Knob Creek. You got our Knob Creek out there, right?
Yeah, I've got our Knob Creek, but I've also got the single barrel, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys Honey Heaven. So so I've done a pick with the Kentucky Bourbon Festival right here. I was on this particular pick at Kentucky and we did that pick with Connor O'Driscoll and Randy Prass, the president, and we came up with this one. And that was one of the first times I was on a barrel pick where I was in a rick house, which was a fantastic pick. It was a fantastic pick experience. So if you can get on a pick team and you go to the distillery, these experiences are fantastic. Not only are you doing these different barrels and tasting from them, but then you get to pick one, and then it's going to be bottled and put together for you. And this one here from Elijah Craig, we did last year, the week of Kentucky Bourbon Festival, if you remember. This particular Elijah Craig. So, we've got these two. One was from, so we're picking now. When you buy a barrel and get it here in Ohio, we go through the state of Ohio, and then we basically have vouchers, and people pay for the vouchers. And when the pick comes in, you pick up your bottle. You want to, if you're into single barrels, you want to make sure that you get associated with a group where you like their picks for the team. The pick team is, a lot of the times, it's me, Nash, CT consistently on these picks. And then we bring from time to time, I believe our last pick, Walker and Jamie were a part of it too. So we have different pick teams that come through. Roxy's on it. It's always good to go and try this Honey Heaven that we did for this pick, which ended up being a short barrel. And so I want to get into a little bit of what can happen during these picks. We
had about three females on this pick, or 4 females on this pick. Because we all had our wives and girlfriends with us, and they each, like I say, we all know that they have a better nose and a better palate.
It helps.
And
yes,
yeah, you better step up, and give them a little more credit.
No, I think
honestly, it's like my wife. Like I say, she can nose and taste a whole lot better, and she picked it out way before anybody else did too. The one that we were going to pick, and everybody else was going one way, and it was all of a sudden, wow. Then we picked this one, the honey barrel.
Well, I was always going this way too. I knew that the honey and this one it was between two. One, so when you're picking, the flavor profile of, let's just say, Elijah Craig. Elijah Craig's barrel proof has a lot of pepper in it. From time to time, it's got caramels, it's rich, it's whatever. But on this particular Honey Heaven that we picked, the honey prevalence was a lot more. The pepper prevalence was almost non-existent. It was a really easy pick. But there was another one, and now this one was, I believe,
we thought the proof was higher on that Honey Heaven.
Well,
than what it really was.
It's funny because it was aged. I know for a fact that they were telling us that when it was bottled, it was going to be 9 years. And I know it was 9 years when it was bottled, but they kept it 8 years. But then they changed the proof from 120.2 down to 119. I believe it's 8. So the proof dropped and the age didn't go up. And I was just like, how is that even a thing? But anyways, it doesn't matter. So what you get is you're trying to make sure. Now, we definitely, once this was in the bottle, this bottle is a fantastic bottle.
Oh my gosh.
Was loved. But what happens is you don't know how many bottles you're going to get. You pick this barrel, and then they tell you 144 to up to 198 bottles is a normal thing for a barrel group, depending.
Yeah.
Now, this was 9 years, so usually it comes down a little bit. So I was hoping for 144. When they told me it was 72, exactly half of what they said it was, I was a little bit skeptical, but that's what I had to deal with. So you can have a short barrel. Right now, the barrels that we just purchased, that we're purchasing to sell out of the French Lick Distillery through South Carolina, where those are 193 and 198 each one. So we have a lot more. So you just never know what you're going to get out of a single barrel when you're picking as a group. And you've got to sell it, but undersell it. You can't oversell it. So those are kind of things that you want to do as a group. But picking as a group, you want to make sure everybody gets a little bit of a unique flavor, but you kind of sometimes want to, staying on profile. So each barrel pick is what would you say? An exclusive. You got to think about it. What you're trying to do with it. Sometimes the brand, it's like if it's the right brand, you want to stay on brand. And sometimes if that brand isn't like the most popular thing, you just don't have to stay on brand. So you can get a little bit more honey in it, like we did here. Yeah. I really think Go ahead.
In other words, you don't have to shoot for that profile. In other words, we all gravitated towards that palette of that bourbon right there, instead of the normal Elijah Craig peppery type single barrel profile.
So when you're talking about a liquor store and you taste their picks, if you like their picks, usually that pick team is picking some good bourbon. So when you're talking about a group, if you don't, 100%, if you taste a group's pick and it's a bourbon that you like and then you don't like it, you kind of got to think about, you might give the group one or two picks, but if you're not on board, find a group where it aligns with your palate. Not everybody comes across our palates. Our palates. You gotta like. Yeah. You gotta like what you're picking. You know what I mean?
We all when we picked that honey barrel, we all didn't agree on the barrels, but we picked and eliminated, and then we did by group.
Elimination. Majority. And initially, it was we had 9 people on the pick. And initially it was 5-4 the other barrel when we voted, but then we blind tasted it again.
Then when we blinded
those two,
it totally changed.
And it changed, but the final was 6-2 the honey barrel. So initially I liked the honey barrel
on a blind tasting.
We blinded it after those 2 won out of the other 4. You know what I mean? We eliminated 2 and we kept, and then once we were able to do this, but in that 6-2, I believe Bernie Lubbers was on the pick, and he was one for the other one on both times. He liked it because he likes Elijah Craig, and it was on profile. But we as a group went to the honey barrel, which I don't know how much was in the other barrel, but it couldn't have been less than what was in this barrel. So, once again, single barrels are a crapshoot. It's like you don't know exactly what you're going to get. Now, and when you're buying distillery single barrels, you're hoping the distillery is picking good, not crappy ones, and they're not just like picking from a spreadsheet. They're just basically picking the good ones that they're doing, and then they're blending the other ones, but they find a good one, they send it for single barrel. That's what you're hoping.
Usually at a distillery, when they're doing the single barrel distillery picks, they have a team, and that team is comprised of what, upwards of like 10 to 15 tasters.
Well, I think, but even like
they're always shooting for consistency,
right?
And so, that's a whole different story as compared to 6 to 8 people,
consistent, going out and picking on these pick teams for festivals and whatnot. So now you know what you should expect from the everyday single barrels on the shelf from the distillery, what you should expect from the distillery's gift shop, what you should expect from the either restaurants or bars or agencies, liquor stores, when they're doing their own picks. Grocery stores even do them. I mean, in Wisconsin, there's a grocery store will do some picks for, so they're sending teams down. Just barrel picks are a blast. And if you have the ability to or sell them either at your restaurant, at your bar, it's a great way to reward your workers, your bartenders, take them down, take them on a trip, pick a barrel, and then you got that to sell at your bar. There's so many different ways that the single barrels work. But overall,
it's a great way to reward your customers.
Right. So if you're picking, so if you're on task on your picking, just make sure you find the right, as a connoisseur, the right place where you're getting those single barrels. And once you do, stick to it, because they're going to be doing some great single barrels. And speaking of awesome single barrels at the moment, we're going to have that William Dalton and Lillian Vernon, which is going to be a brand introduction single barrel. Although the brand is being introduced on another, nobody has the French oak stave, because Alan was able to drop that stave in for 3 months for me. And that really made this Lillian Vernon barrel, in my opinion, spectacular. This is a very light, fruity, there's some pear, there's some, it's just very, very complicated and elegant. I really believe this bottle, we're going to have enough of it, and people are going to want multiple bottles. So, contact me on Facebook or
Super Nash or through Facebook.
Right. And if you want to get in on that, we could show you how to do it, how to get part of our barrel picking process, for not going on the barrel picks, but for being available for all that we do. We do 2-3 a year. And so hopefully this now what happens is they get delayed so long.
Have an opportunity, right, for somebody in the group to to be a part of a barrel pick.
Well,
so don't leave that out.
Well, there is the Crystal Glencairn Club that I've ordered some more Crystal Glencairns, and then the maximum $500 membership to be a part of the club and help out the Scotchy Bourbon Boys is that you are invited to a barrel pick, along with you get the barrel picks that we've done, the different levels. I'll be explaining it, and then you get the pick when you go. It's when we get it, you get a bottle of that, and you can buy you get first chance at any of our picks. So that if we're going to be selling out, which we do. Every pick right now has sold out, and I don't think this is going to be any different once we get this pick in for the Spirit of French Lake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, thanks everybody tonight for watching. Yes. I mean, single barrels. I hope we've covered exactly what it is, what you want to do, how you want to navigate the different single barrels. There's so many out there. People don't understand what a single barrel is.
And different types of single barrels. So, I hope we covered it all. And thanks everybody, YouTube, Facebook, and all the different platforms that you'll listen to us on.
All right, man. www.Scotchy Bourbon Boys for all things Scotchy Bourbon Boys. And then also make sure that you check us out on all the podcast formats: Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and then also Pandora, Deezer. Yeah, there you go. And then also check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X. I've been pushing a little bit more on X, so check us out there now that Elon Musk is kind of got it down so that if you do something wrong, you just don't get spanked every single time. So I checked that out a little bit. And then also remember, good bourbon, good friends, and good times equal good friends and good times.
What?
All right, let's try that again. All right. Remember, good bourbon equals good friends and good times. Make sure that you don't drink and drive, drink responsibly, and go out there and live your life adventurously. All right, little Steve-O is going to take us out.
Cheers, everybody. With a little Maker's Mark Private Selection Single Barrel. Another brown sugar.
Don't ask why. Don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die.
Yeah.
Great podcast. Great podcast.
All right.
Now remember, we're still on Facebook and YouTube. The comments on, you do realize, I mean, you have to know that when it comes to your how you sound, Nash, you do sound from time to time like Hank Hill. If you said, Bobby, what are you doing? I think everybody would think you were Hank Hill.
Tiny, what are you doing?
I mean, it's like with a couple of people that have always brought it up, you know what I mean? They bring it up, and I'm just like, I was like, what are you talking about? And then I listened, and I'm like, oh my God, he definitely will get a Hank Hill kind of thing going from time to time. All right, let me just.
That's cool, because I like Hank Hill.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, absolutely.
The ultimate driveway, the ultimate driveway court judge.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're the whiskey drinking version of that.
I bet my Maker's Mark's better than your Maker's Mark.
It might be better, but mine's bigger.
My God. That sounds like something my brother would say.
So is that an insult? I'm not your brother?
You are my brother. Yeah, I gotta get you about all this. You and Walker. Walker still watching?
I think so. Some weird things. All right. Pours only Indiana bourbon drinkers. I don't know what that is about. Let me just quick.
This is like burnt brown sugar.
Really?
Yeah, burnt brown sugar and vanilla.
Yeah, he's still there. Propane and propane accessories. Walker says, damn it, Bobby. Matt says the same thing.
Damn it, Bobby.
It's a donation. Randy just donated.
With this phone, I probably got that Hank Hill look sitting back like this too. Maybe I should give my profile a look.
Yeah, Hank Hill boy band. Hank Hill boy band.
Who said that?
I did.
You did. Oh god.
So I last year at the festival bought that, was it 15-year Rare Perfection?
Yeah, you got that, and I got the other two. I got the oh my gosh, the winter. It was winter something.
Yeah, with the white top.
Yeah.
From a visual,
and then I got the other one.
From a visual standpoint,
I got the two expensive ones. Lunas Trail single barrel. Nope, Knob Creek.
yeah, this came from the Bourbon and Wine place, our favorite place to stop, like on the way to, that place with those guys have a nice distill in Bardstown, right outside of Bardstown, Bourbon and Wine with the drive-through.
Yeah.
I got that one year. I think it was $42. And then I think it was the same year you were sending that those single barrels, 15-year single barrels up to me and Young Nose, and I was like, what is going on? It was the 15-year single barrels were better than I would say this is toothache medicine right here. What do you say?
What is that? 125?
120. But that, did you see it's the old style bottle, so that's been around for a while.
Yeah. With the brown label.
Yep. But those were so good.
Brown sugar. Or Scotch. Oak.
He says, Walker says he's got 5 bottles for us to try.
Oh my gosh.
God, I have too much bourbon already. And then it's like you go a whole week without.
No man could ever have too much bourbon.
I mean, I've been trying to keep up.
You've always got friends. They like to drink.
Speaking of friends, I got to get a bottle to one of my friends.
You there?
What?
That'll be one less bottle that you have.
Yeah. And then we booked November. Randy and Kate and me and Roxy are going to go to the San Francisco Packer game. So we booked the same hotel as last year, or the Airbnb as last year. But the guy that's giving me the tickets, these tickets aren't, NFL tickets aren't cheap. So I told him I'd get him a bottle of bourbon, but the bottle of bourbon I'm getting him will be our barrel pick by then. But the one I got to pick it out tonight. I was thinking if there was a Makers that I hadn't opened, I'd give him one of
them. About bringing an old Jim Beam to drink on the bus.
Yeah, but you also got to surprise us. You've been doing well with that?
Yeah. I'm kind of stumped. I've just been really, but
I'm trying to get a sample of that Chicken Cock 15-year from Tyler so that we can do that on the podcast with Greg.
Oh my gosh, that's
in the gift shop right now.
That's being sold right now at the circa 1856.
You know the price? Did you see it?
No, how much?
I don't know.
I hadn't.
I have no idea. I've been trying. Been talking with Greg. I got so much to do. I got to go down. I got to contact Ryan from Middle West.
I might have to drive up to Kentucky this weekend.
Yeah.
I told her, I was like, I told her like Sunday when I was getting ready to leave, I was like, well, since I've been working all these weekends since I've been off, I was like, what if we take off? Oh, no, I'm babysitting the grandkids. What? Oh my God.
Hey, I got August 10th. I got to go up for my youngest in Michigan for his birthday party. Drive up there. The 17th, I got to drive down to French Lick to pick up the bottles from the gift shop, and then the 23rd, which is a Friday, I got off, and we got to do a podcast at New Riff. If you're gonna come a weekend,
If either 17th or 23rd, I'll be in Daytona.
Well, hopefully it's the 17th.
Because I'll be driving NASCAR cars that actually me and Marcus will be watching the races Friday and Saturday, and then on that Sunday, I got where I'll be driving at Daytona Motor Speedway. I'm going to up my speed from 155 miles on 0.4 at Daytona to I can drive up to 170 miles an hour.
Nash, we need to grab dinner then. If it's a Saturday, I had a commitment with Christy's friend Latrice. That's what Walker said if you go up there. I will go to 1850s. Okay, so Walker will go up there and get you a bottle.
This weekend?
All right, Walker, you asked, did I put you off?
I'm going to have to, I got Walker's number, so
okay.
I'll have to coordinate with Walker.
Yeah, it depends on how much it is. I want one too. But if it's $900, I can't do it. But Walker asked if I
might want two, because if I can get two, if I get two, then I'll open up one on the bus trip.
Okay, Walker, it's supposed to be ready this week, she said, the labels. Then they got to put them on. And then I got to, once they have them on and the Louisiana place picks it up, I then have to wait 2 weeks from when they get theirs. So I am just playing it safe. I'm not putting anybody off. And August 10th, I have to go to Michigan, so I can't go that weekend. So I'll go the following weekend and do it. So I have to have it by Kentucky Bourbon Festival because we have to have those bottles there, and we gotta. I'm basically gonna have them there, and we'll basically push it there too. Not at the festival, but to the people.
Yeah,
because this is special.
We're gonna backpack and trunk sell it.
Trunk sell. Yeah, I ordered some more Glencairns, I guess. So I've got the money, so I might as well do it.
You got to get me some more cards. I've only got probably 75 more cards or less.
All right, I'll mention it to Roxy. All right. So I'm going to end it on YouTube. Let's see what we got on YouTube before we go, because YouTube, we're back. I'm hoping. Last time I would like to be. We'll see. I have no idea how many people were watching or doing.
Thanks everybody for
Thank you
tuning in to Facebook and hanging out with us and having a couple of pours and on a Tuesday night.
Well, I will be back on Thursday. So back to Tuesdays and Thursdays. So everybody check us out on Thursday.
And Super Nash will be there on Thursday because he's got a early Thursday morning doctor's appointment, orthopedic surgeon on his knee. So he knows he'll be in town.
All right.
Back home in South Carolina. So I'll be able to tune in.
All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night, and thanks, everybody.
On YouTube. All right.